Hi, Tommy Heffernan, Precision Microbes here. Welcome back to Tech in 10. I'm here with
Ryan Duffy.
Ryan. Today we're covering
Abomasal Bloat.
Okay, the reason we're covering it's a little bit late, a little bit off season maybe, but we get so many inquiries about calves with bloat and even pet lambs with bloat. So maybe this will be one you go back to next year. If you're calving all year round or in the autumn time, this might be one for you anyway. But it's going to be, we're going to talk about. So Tech in 10.
Yep, it is a deep dive into technical issues, and we're going to try and cover them in 10 minutes or less.
So here we go, off we go. Abomasal bloat or bloat, we'll say abomasal bloat. We'll start off with the question, what is it?
Yeah, well, even to go back a wee bit, what is the abomasum? As we know, cattle have four stomachs, the rumen, the reticulum, the omasum, and the abomasum. But baby calves really rely on the fourth one, which is the abomasum.
Which is kind of the true stomach, I suppose.
So. It resembles our true stomach. It's full of hydrochloric acid and it digests that way. So what is abomasal bloat? It's over distension with gases of fermentation of the abomasum.
It's a real challenge. So there is ruminal bloat. We could cover that in another series. But abomasal bloat and abomasitis, these other, abomasal ulcers, are all kind of linked in together around that digestive piece. Is it a problem? To me, it seems like a big, big problem. Some of the things I'd say is obviously we're feeding a lot more milk replacer to calves and we're using a lot more automatic feeders. Both of them contribute. I'm a fan of automatic feeders, but a real frustration I've talked to farmers and vets over the last while is that bloat piece on it. So when we think about abomasal bloat, what does it actually look like in the calf? What are they presenting like? Or even the lambs?
Yeah, well, it's a stomach that in older animals is sitting on the right-hand side. In younger animals, it's making up the vast bulk of the actual belly itself. Yeah. So whenever they're presenting with bloat, it's pretty much uniform swelling across the whole calf.
Yeah, and again, you have a lovely diagram of the stomach here, Ryan, nice and simple. But it's excess gas that's ballooning up, very uncomfortable in the calf. Quite a serious issue, obviously, if you don't get in there in time as well.
And what would they look like, Tommy? I know to be a bit colicky and stuff. So
the calf's presenting basically the belly is starting to swell. They've gone off their milk, especially if they're on automated feeders. They're sluggish. When you get them in real severe, they can be down. You have to work with your vet getting the gas out of the stomach. Sometimes people use tubes, but often it's actually a needle has to go in here at the real correct point. So not something you do without veterinary advice. All right, let's talk about why do we see abomasal bloat? Why does it occur? It is a problem. I've mentioned here kind of the big issues I see with milk replacer and sometimes automatic feeders. You don't tend to see it as an issue on whole milk. That'd be my experience. You have kind of focus areas we need to look at.
Yeah, well, there's two main focus areas. Hygiene would be number one and milk or milk replacer would be number two. Those would be two areas that I definitely be focusing on whenever we're investigating abomasal bloat. So it's a group problem. So it's usually a lot of a group of calves that actually have it.
It could be 10, 15, 20% of the cases I've talked in the last couple of weeks.
Easily, and animals can just drop from it as well. So it can be very, very severe. But 2 to 3 hours after feeding, would you kind of?
Yeah, during the day or after feeding. Okay, so if we look at, you've kind of gone to prevention areas, but let's go backwards and talk about what way do we do this? We'll start with hygiene. Obviously, we don't want a lot of bugs going in there. So when we think about hygiene, we want to think about hygiene of water, because water often is a key ingredient of milk replacer. You can check water on farm by doing a potable water sample. It's not a bad start. Send it on a Monday morning to local council. Testing water is something we want to do once a year, particularly if we've got header tanks sitting up in sheds that in seasonal calving systems, the water is lying stagnant over the summer in pipes and stuff. You need to build up a biofilm. A lot of Coley farms go in, and that can be a risk on some farms. Obviously, that water goes into milk replacer, fat and protein, can proliferate. Teat hygiene is really important. Feeder hygiene is really important as well.
Okay.
So talk to me about milk replacer then. Okay, why is milk replacer such an important part of the abomasal bloat story?
Well, if we go back a wee step and understand why is gas building up in here, we can have normal fermentation that naturally occurs, but we could have poor outflow from the abomasum.
Okay.
So i.e. the gas can't get out of the abomasum. It's not going to go back the way, because this isn't the rumen. This isn't burping.
There's no eructation.
Yeah, there's no burping. The alternative is where we have excess gas production. So we just have too much fermentation, and that could be because of the existence or presence of bad bugs floating in here. Naturally, that should be killed off by hydrochloric acid. It's one of the best innate defense mechanisms. inside the gastrointestinal tract. So we have to kind of understand, why are those bugs surviving if there is hydrochloric acid in
The
there?
bugs are predominantly producing the gas, or it's just a blockage and the gas is nowhere to go. That's the two things. Okay.
Pretty much. Or it could be a combination of both.
Okay, I find milk replacer a big challenge with this. Quality of milk replacer, consistency. Calves love consistency. People have heard me say that before. So, a really good quality replacer. It's hard to measure replacers. Next season we'll do a deep dive of milk replacers, but quality replacer mixed consistently is key.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely, because fats can go to the top. They can get out of the milk replacer or the mix. If it's not at the right temperature, it's not going to be consistently mixed either. So calves initially can get quite watery milk, and at the tail end they can get quite fattier milk or more proteinaceous milk.
Okay. The other thing you'll see with feed is that the nipple is the right size, speed of drinking. If they're drinking too fast, they can get big bellies of milk. Too many calves on a feeder as well, or too many calves, particularly with automated feeders, if the group size is too big, it's a lot of competition, bullying, they tend to drink very fast. That can all lead to, disruptions in abomasal emptying time, stomach performance, or, natural physiology in here. Would you agree?
Oh, definitely. If we've too much in there and we have bugs, there's going to be excess fermentation, 100%.
Okay, automated feeders, great for time saving, but they have to be calibrated correctly. Putting a quality replacer in there, making sure you have clean water. Nipple hygiene is really important with automatic feeders as well.
Yeah, and you want that 125 grams to 150 grams per litre, or up to a litre, 875 mils of water or 850 mils of water. Because they want that consistency. If we don't have the consistency, the osmolality will go up, or the saltiness will go up in the milk, and this will actually stop the abomasum from emptying.
Okay. When it comes to milk replacers, you have to do a deep dive, maybe get independent advice. I certainly have 3 or 4 milk replacers that if there's issues, I'll tell people try this or this one, and they usually can, milk replacer is a big factor for me, I think. Automated calibration. One of the things that I've done in the last while, and talking to other vets as well, is the use of clostridial vaccines, where you see a lot of bloat issues, because a lot of times the bugs here are clostridial bugs. Sometimes they're Yersinia, and that's not going to solve all your problems, but the 10-in-1 clostridial vaccine, what's your thoughts on that, where you're seeing a lot of bloat?
Listen, from being on the ground, I've seen it work.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've probably seen it, or you wouldn't be talking about it otherwise.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a role for it to play.
Okay.
Let alone preventing blackleg and everything else, and abomasitis, which is also caused by a clostridial bug.
It just seems to be one of those things that you put into the basics need to be right, but that's something else as well. We get asked a lot of questions about precision microbes in bloat, and this is what I would say. Precision microbes is targeting down here in the hindgut. We're not going to solve bloat issues if there's any of these big things here. Certainly with calves post bloat, they get disruptions and they get dysbiosis. It's a very useful product to help calves recovering, but it's not going to really make a huge difference to true abomasal bloat issues. If your bloat issues are coming from the rumen or gut health, and it's a step backwards, yes, but I feel that we look at precision microbes, we need to get these things right. Anything else I'm missing?
No, look, the focus area is milk replacer. Second focus area is hygiene. If we can keep the bugs down and get the milk being delivered consistently at the right mixture, a lot of these issues do go away.
Yeah, so I think we're not going to fully wrap up the 10 minutes. We've covered this one quite quickly. We get a lot of questions on it, but I think it's worth going through the steps again. Yeah, it seems to be a big issue. Certainly where we're feeding milk replacer and dairy to beef calves, or we're rearing calves, get your quality replacer. Consistency in calves, they're the 2 words I'd say together. Get consistent milking, follow the bag and instructions. If you're struggling with a milk replacer, you can change replacers, but get a quality one. When it comes to automatic feeders, nipple hygiene is really important. The source of water for either mixing milk replacer on farm or going into feeders, really key.
And how frequently would you be cleaning those nipples?
Oh, I think you need to have a nipple on the go all the time, one in detergent, one on the machine, and one to be clean. So have sort of every day changing the nipple.
Every day changing the nipple, okay.
Yeah, I think constantly have those recycling.
And the actual hole or the orifice of the nipple?
Yeah, so you want the calf to drink quite hard, so 4 mils is something that might be wrong or right in that figure, but the calf has to work hard to produce saliva, which is obviously a nice buffer in here as well for the calf.
Definitely.
Anything else we've missed, Ryan?
I think we've covered it quite well there, yeah.
So if you have a topic you want us to cover, again, this is probably a little bit out of season. We're starting Tech in 10, myself and Ryan, getting used to this, our own combo of chatting away. Leave a comment in the box below on a topic you'd like to try and cover. A lot of the times we'll cover topics related to precision microbes, but there may be other ones that we'll have a crack off as well.
Definitely.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you.